All right, welcome back for another deep dive. You guys know the drill, right? You send in something that catches your eye, and we take a closer look.
Yeah, exactly. We try to uncover the hidden gems and figure out why it's grabbing everyone's attention.
Today's dive is, it's a little spicy. Buckle up, because we're taking a deep dive into the world of Princes of Legacy. It's the 9th book, can you believe that? 9th, in the Royals of Forsyth University series by Angel Lawson and Samantha Rue. And we're not just talking about the book itself.
Right, we're diving headfirst into the Goodreads reviews, the raw, unfiltered thoughts straight from the readers.
And let me tell you, these reviews are passionate. We're talking a tidal wave of love for this book.
Yeah, you can really feel the intensity,
Words like phenomenal, amazing, perfection, they're everywhere.
It's not just hype either. The numbers paint a very clear picture. We're looking at a 4.39 star average, which is, that's pretty impressive on its own, but over 5,000 ratings.
And a whopping 56% are giving it a perfect 5 stars.
That tells you something right there.
Absolutely. That's a dedicated fan base. So what is it about this book, and maybe the series as a whole, that's sparking this level of devotion? Let's break it down. One of the first things that jumps out is, the genre. It's categorized as dark romance.
Or as some reviewers call it, traumatic romance.
And it got us thinking, what is it about these stories with these characters who are morally ambiguous, walking on the edge? What is it about that draws readers in?
I think there's something fascinating about exploring the darker sides of humanity, the trauma, the pain. But, and this is key, it's not just about wallowing in the darkness.
Right, it's about the journey, the healing, the resilience.
Exactly. Seeing these characters who are often described as beautifully broken in the reviews, seeing them overcome these incredible obstacles, finding love, finding redemption, I think that's a powerful narrative for a lot of people.
And it's not just any kind of love, right? We need to talk about the elephant, or rather the princes in the room. This series heavily features the reverse harem dynamic.
Okay, for those who might not be familiar with this particular trope, it's essentially where one central female character, in this case Verity, has romantic relationships with multiple partners all at the same time. And here, it's the 3 princes, Whitaker, Pace, and Lex.
And the readers are here for it. They love the complex relationships, the different dynamics, the unique family structure that emerges from it.
It's not just about the romance, though, is it?
No, not at all. Readers are also raving about the character development, especially in Princes of Legacy.
They talk about the growth, the evolution of both Verity and the princes over the course of the trilogy, how they've healed from past traumas, how they've learned to love, to trust, to be vulnerable.
And importantly, how they've become parents.
Right. That's a huge part of Princes of Legacy, the journey into parenthood. And readers are really responding to that, seeing these characters who started out so broken, embracing fatherhood, creating a family.
It's clear that the emotional impact of this book and the series as a whole is something else entirely.
People are talking about crying, swooning, feeling utterly connected to the characters' journeys. It's visceral. It's more than just reading words on a page. It's like they're living it alongside them.
And that sense of family, both the biological family they create and the found family they build together, that's a really powerful theme that comes up again and again. Okay, let's get into some specifics. What are some of the key moments and plot points that people are talking about?
Well, the birth of Verity and the prince's son, Justice, that's a huge one. It's like a turning point in the story.
Yeah, and it plays into that whole theme of healing and redemption that we were talking about earlier.
Absolutely. Another big moment is, it's a bit of a spoiler alert here, so if you haven't read the book, you might want to skip ahead a bit.
Yeah, fair warning.
Verity gets elected queen.
Which is a pretty big deal in this world. It's a total power move.
Readers were thrilled about that, seeing her step into that role.
There's also, and this is no surprise for a romance novel, the big love confession scene. But in a reverse harem, it's not just one confession, it's a whole web of them.
And from what we're seeing in the reviews, the authors really nailed it. This is a scene that people have been waiting for, and it delivers on all the emotional payoff.
We also can't forget the downfall of Rufus Ashby, the prince's father. Let's be honest, he's the villain of this story.
And his death. Oh, the readers are celebrating that one.
Big time. It's like a collective sigh of relief. Justice is served.
Right. It's a major catharsis for both the characters and the readers. Now, before we move on, we have to address something that's, it's pretty central to this genre, and that's the spice level. Things get pretty steamy in this book.
And the readers aren't shy about discussing it. We're seeing mentions of specific kinks, like lactation kink, breeding king. These are things that are discussed pretty openly in the reviews, and some readers really enjoy that aspect of the story.
It's important to remember that dark romance often prods boundaries, explores these darker, sometimes taboo themes.
And it's all consensual, of course.
Of course. We're also seeing mentions of other kinks, like cockwarming and DP, dual penetration. It's all part of the exploration of intimacy and desire within this particular world. Now, for those who maybe haven't delved into this series yet, Princes of Legacy isn't a standalone. It's the culmination of the Princes trilogy, which is, of course, part of the larger Royals of Forsyth University universe.
We're talking multiple trilogies here. We've got the Lords, the Dukes, and now the Princes. And guess what? There's more to come. Barons of Decay is on the horizon.
And the readers are already buzzing about it. There are hints, little Easter eggs sprinkled throughout Princes of Legacy, teasing what's to come.
It's clear that the authors are masters at building this interconnected world, weaving in familiar characters, keeping those long-term fans hooked.
Yeah, that's one of the things that keeps people coming back for more. That feeling of familiarity, those little glimpses of beloved characters from previous books. It's like catching up with old friends.
And there are still some mysteries left hanging.
Oh yeah, plenty of unresolved plot threads to keep readers guessing. Characters like Stella and Ballsy, their stories aren't quite finished yet.
It's a smart strategy, right? Leaving those questions unanswered ensures that people will be eagerly awaiting the next installment.
Absolutely. Now, beyond the plot and the characters, we need to talk about the writing itself. Overwhelmingly, reviewers are praising the author's ability to create intricate plots, develop characters with real depth, they're not just one-dimensional, and keep the reader guessing with twists and turns.
The pacing, the suspense, the emotional roller coaster, it all comes together to create a truly immersive experience.
And it's not just the characters, it's the world itself. The Forsyth University world has become so real, so tangible for these readers.
It's like a second home for them. They're invested in every detail, every corner of this fictional universe. But okay, we have to acknowledge that not every single review was glowing.
Right. There was one review in particular that offered a more critical perspective.
This reviewer, while they still enjoyed certain aspects of the book, they felt that the Princes trilogy as a whole wasn't quite as strong as some of the earlier series.
They questioned the relevance of the whole hockey player aspect.
Which, I can kind of see where they're coming from. Like, was that really necessary?
They also felt that some of the side characters were a little underdeveloped.
And there were a couple of plot points that they found predictable, like they were drawn from popular fan theories, which, I get that. Sometimes you want to be surprised.
Exactly. This reviewer also brought up something interesting. They felt that Verity's motherly behavior towards the Prince's frat brothers was a little jarring, especially considering some of the non-consensual stuff that happened earlier in the series.
It's a valid point. It raises questions about character growth, forgiveness, the complexities of relationships after trauma.
And they felt that the focus on the pregnancy, all the details of it, kind of overshadowed some of the emotional depth that they had come to expect from the series.
Which, if you're not really into that kind of thing, it could be a little overwhelming. And they were disappointed that the central plot line about the missing girls wasn't resolved.
That definitely left some loose ends, and not everyone appreciates cliffhangers. But even with those criticisms, this reviewer still acknowledged enjoying certain scenes, the birth scene, a heartwarming nursery scene with characters from previous books. So
it seems like even with their reservations, there's still that underlying love for this series, that attachment to the characters and the world.
Absolutely. So, to sum it all up, our deep dive into the Goodreads reviews for Princes of Legacy reveals a passionate and dedicated fan base.
It's a book that's sparking intense emotional reactions, provoking discussions, and leaving readers eager for more.
The overwhelming takeaway is that this book, and likely the series as a whole, succeeds in creating a world that readers want to lose themselves in, with characters they root for and relationships that, even with their darkness and complexity, ultimately offer a sense of hope and healing.
It's a reminder that the power of storytelling lies in its ability to connect with us on an emotional level, to make us feel, to make us think, to make us question.
And that's what keeps us coming back for more.
Absolutely. So we've unpacked the Goodreads reviews, we've explored the themes, the tropes, the kinks, the criticisms, but what we really want to know is, what do you think?
Yeah.
What is it about dark romance, but these flawed, complex characters that resonates so deeply with so many readers?
Is it the thrill of the taboo, the exploration of trauma and recovery, the yearning for a happily ever after against all odds. Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and until next time, happy reading.
Happy reading, everyone.